everybody, this is Josh, Stony Ridge Farmer, and today we're going to be installing our wood stove pipe in our steel building. This is a job that I've set up many a nights wondering how I was going to go about this process. Don't worry so much on it. Once you get started, things will come naturally to you if you've got any kind of mechanical sensibility. This job isn't that bad. We should have our wood stove fired up and running by the end of the day today. This has been a approximately 5 to 6 hour project, so don't be scared to jump in head first on this. Alright, so what we've got to do is get our stove. This is our pipe. We're going to get our stove piped up through the roof here. It sounds easy, but it's not easy. So I've got some black stove pipe I'm going to use up into the roof, and then I'm going to use some insulated chimney pipe, and I'll show you that. And I have a roof mount brace that goes up to mount the insulated chimney pipe. And the reason I'm doing insulated pipe is because I don't want to discolor my tin. So what I've got here is a transition piece first, then a slider piece, then which rotates and allows me to move the pipe. I've got a T for a clean out, and we'll put a cap on the back, and then when I get ready to, I can clean it out easier. And then I have another piece of pipe, black steel pipe, non-insulated, that I'm going to put up here. Okay? I'm just kind of pre-fitting everything right now to make sure things are going to work, things are going to look right, things are going to fit. So, pre-fitting to make sure everything fits, and that's it. I'll show you my gasket here in just a second that I'm using to mount the pipe through the ceiling. So the biggest, most complex detail of installing this pipe is going to be this rubber high temperature seal. And this goes up on the roof, fits flat with the roof, and this edge right here, it's malleable so that you're able to move it over top of the ridges that are on the roof. And basically you just screw this down, you put some high temp RTV silicone around liberally, and then once you get it down, I'm going to silicone all the way around it again, and this has to fit my insulated pipe. So that's the most complex part of this. I'm going to mark my spot here in a minute and get ready to cut my hole. I'm not sure if I'm going to do it today, or I may get out there and do it tomorrow. I'm also going to cut this ring out. If you'll look, it's indexed here with numbers to tell you what size. So this is a Dectite number 8. Okay. So somebody gave us this wood stove. It's a craft stove. I'll show you inside. It doesn't have any fire bricks in it right now, but we're going to put some fire bricks in it sooner or later. But pretty decent little wood stove, good for the shop. Has these vent holes for fans, and this is the rusty, crusty old fan motor that I'm going to go through, check out, make sure it's all good, and that'll blow heat out to the shop. So may eventually put some insulation in the shop, but for now we're just going to get the stove going. I want to make sure that my pipe is straight and level, as level and straight as I can get it. I can always tweak it a little bit, you know, it's pretty flexible stuff. I've got some high temp RTV, and I'll RTV and screw these things together so that I don't get a lot of smoke in here, carbon monoxide and such. We're up to the point where I'm going to have to measure and cut the tin, which is kind of eerie because we just built this building and I'm not really too confident in what I'm doing here, but we'll find out. Tell you about my clearances from the wall. The stove itself is 17 inches from the wall, which brings the stove pipe out to, let me see, 18 inches from the wall. This is a non-flammable surface. It should be good to go. I don't want it to get the tin really hot on the other side and discolor it. I want things to stay pretty. I want to do my best, so this is my best. Okay, so I've got my insulated pipe and my adapter to hook to my black metal. I'm going to slip this over this, like so. Kind of press it down and see where my lip is. okay? Then once I do that, I'm gonna cut it 1 up from where my lip is. So this is 6-inch insulated pipe, and I'm gonna cut maybe even 2 up because I want this thing to be really tight, and I'll slip it down over there like a really tight condom. All right, so I've cut my piece out here over there like a really tight condom. All right, so I've cut my piece out here, and basically if you look, it says 8.5 to 9 right here. And there's several measurements. Measure your pipe and cut around the ring. I just cut around this index portion, and it slipped over just fine. Looked kind of nice. So now we're going to cut our hole, and we're going to cut the hole just about the size of the inside diameter of this. So I'm going to measure the inside diameter and leave myself a few inches of play. So now, here I am, unsafely on a ladder. My pipe top is here. My ceiling is here. I'm going to take a plumb bob. I'm going to drop it down. Find the center of my pipe. This is all moderately adjustable because I can move this pipe and I can move the stove a little bit, you know, 1/2 inch, 1 inch, 2 inches, whatever I need to do in order to accommodate where my hole is. That way my insulated pipe is in the very center of my hole. This in no way is a code type thing. This is an agricultural building, and this is an agricultural situation. So if anybody's using this as a guide, understand that this is not code. This is an agricultural building, and I'm just trying to put a wood stove in it to keep things warm, like my baby birds, and when I have things to work on like the tractor or the gator in the shop in the wintertime. Or if I just want to come out here and cook a pot of beans, because that's what I want to do. So here we go. I've got my plumb bob, and we're about dead center here. So I'm going to put a little dot. And X marks the spot. That's where we'll start drilling. What we'll do is I'll shoot a self-tapping screw up through there, and I'll take a piece of string, tie it to my Sharpie, and draw a line, then we'll cut it out. So I'm up here and I've got a punch. I'm going to punch my spot, mark my spot. Alright, I've got my spot marked. I'm going to zip me a self-tapper in here. So I've got my flashing piece here. I'm going to measure the inside diameter, which is 14 inches. I'm going to divide that by 2, which is 7 inches. And I'm actually going to take a 1/2 inch extra off all the way around. I'm going to leave a 1/2 inch all the way around. So I've got 7. I'm going to do it at 6.5, which will allow me a 13-inch hole, which is plenty of clearance for my insulated pipe to go through a non-flammable roof. So for reference points, I'm going to go up here, I'm going to measure off of my screw 6.5 inches, and I'm going to put several dots around, maybe 5 or 6 dots all the way around that screw. Got some reference marks made up. I've got a piece of wire. I'm going to wrap that around my self-tapping screw. Stretch it out good. And I'm going to use this as a reference. I'm going to twist it up on the screw. Up on the pin until I got a reference for my circumference. And again, this doesn't have to be exact, and this is just my way of doing it. So there's my mark. I'm going to double check my measurements before I cut. Woo. So I'm going up the ladder, got my measuring tape, and I've got my piece of roof flashing. I'm looking up in here to make sure that I got plenty of bite for my roof flashing. And I've got plenty of bite. Bite meaning this portion here will have the full width of contact right outside here. So we're good to go there. So I'm going to take my drill up here. I'm going to drill a few pilot holes to get started. And then I'm going to cut the circular hole out with a jigsaw with a metal cutting blade. Safety goggles are a must. I'm getting ready to cut a hole in the roof with the jigsaw using a metal cutting blade made for thin metals. I also have two different types of high temp silicone sealant. This is what I got at Lowe's, and this red high temp RTV is what I got at Napa Auto Parts. We got our hole all punched out. We're going to go ahead and get up on the roof and slide our pipe down in, mount it up. My neighbor's going to come and help me hold the ladder, and we're going to get busy with it. So I decided before I go up on the roof that I'm going to go ahead and install the cap on top of my insulated pipe here. This cap I bought at Lowe's. It's upside down. It's a universal chimney cap. It also comes with a strap that goes around and holds it in place. Pretty simple, self-explanatory to put in. I'm also going to go ahead, I went on Amazon and purchased this brace kit. It's a bracing kit. Purchased this bracing kit. I'm going to go ahead and attach part of the bracing kit to it so that when I'm up on the roof I don't have to spend too awful much time. I can go up there, slide my flashing over, screw it down, and then get it all braced up, get off the roof, and be done. Now before I go up on the roof, I'm going to make sure I have all my materials. I've got the right bit size to work with my self-tapping screws, and I'm going to bring my drill up. I'm going to get a pocket full of goodies, go up there, and try to go up and make it a one up and done trip. I don't want to make any more trips up on this tin roof than I have to. Up the ladder we go. Put our insulated pipe on. So I'm going to slide this over. Got all my goodies. Find my approximate center point. Should be able to do that with my level. Slide the level inside the pipe because it's smooth in there. Now I'm going to press fit. So we've got our general idea of where we're going to be here. Looking good. So I propped up a 2x4 underneath here, and I made sure that my rubber seal is centered. We've got all our RTV in place here, and we're getting ready to mount our brackets to get her done. So there we are. I mounted my braces here on each end. Got my seal siliconed up. I siliconed all the way around the outside. Made a little bit of a mess, what I call a 4-year-old caulking job, and caulked very gently around the top edge. Put this band around. We got a 3-foot section of pipe with the cap, and I zipped some self-tapping screws to secure this. And these are mounted down to the building top, so we'll see how she goes. This is Josh, Stony Ridge Farmer, coming from Stoneville, North Carolina. Thanks for watching. Hope you learned a little something. Don't be scared. Get out there and do your work by yourself. All right. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Woo! We'll come on down to the Stony Ridge. Bring your wife and bring your kids. We're living life here in
Now, any professional plumber looking at this is going to shoot himself in the head. But the big epiphany I had after years of running it was, yeah, I got more valves and circulator pumps than I can shake a stick at, and I haven't paid a dime for heating my house or my shop in the last 40 years.
All right, guys, Tom is going to show us his hydronic heating system. Basically, this whole concrete floor has radiant tubes in it, the PEX tubing. This system, when did you have this built?
I built this 18 years ago, and I had one real similar. I built about 40 years ago.
Yeah.
So it's proven everything works.
And this is somewhat of an older system. You were kind of a pioneer in some ways.
Yeah, but I just don't want people telling me it won't work, because it has worked.
Yeah.
It's worked for decades.
Yeah. Now this system is heated multiple ways. You got the boiler here.
Yeah.
And then
Here's the biggie.
yeah, let's go show that.
These are hydronic solar water heaters, just copper tubing, all factory built. back in the day, absorber plates. You run water through them, it heats it up. It's pretty simple.
How many gallons is this?
These 6, I did the math once, and they put out the BTUs roughly equivalent to about 2.5 gallons of propane wood. Day after day, year after year, those panels are about 30 years old. And they've handled all kinds of the stormy weather we've had up there. Then there's 3 more in the house in back.
And those heat your home?
Well, yeah, everything's kind of.
Is it separate? Is it a separate system?
Well, it's nice, Mike.
You have those panels heating just the shop?
They're connected.
They're connected?
Yeah. In a way.
In a way.
So,
There's a heat transfer somewhere.
those heat the floor directly via this heat exchanger.
Okay.
The glycol fluid, actually, it's a closed loop glycol loop. Comes down, goes through this plate heat exchanger, double-walled heat exchanger. As water runs through there, if it's hot enough, the floor loop kicks on. Okay, and then it starts, in effect, going through the floor, but the 2 fluids never mix. That's the thing. I don't have glycol in my floor, and I don't have water in my panels. I have a glycol mixture.
Water's in your floor.
Yeah, oh yeah, straight water.
Straight water's in your floor.
Yeah, it's never going to freeze. Water's more efficient at exchanging heat than glycol. Plus, it's cheaper.
And then there's glycol in the panels.
Yeah.
So the glycol goes through the panels,
Yeah.
through here, and there's a heat exchanger in here.
Yeah. And then goes back into the panels in a continuous loop. These are the solar powered pumps. And the 50-watt solar panel is a controller, because whenever there's enough sunlight to make hot water, there's enough electricity to run the pump. And then this auxiliary pump is just, think of it as a booster. Once the water reaches, say, 120 degrees in my loop, which is about as hot as it ever gets,
That's when that goes.
that kicks on. Yeah.
Okay, just so you're not overcooking.
Well,
Because those pumps aren't fast.
yeah. Again, I wanted to keep the flow rate high and the temperature loop low. I didn't want to see 140, 150 degree water glycol coming back. I like to keep it down. Usually what I end up running is a delta T of about 20 degrees.
Okay.
90 degree coolant coming in, 70 degree going into the floor, maybe 110 degree glycol coming down from the panels on a hot day or a sunny day, and then 90 going into the floor.
What does this heat exchanger consist of?
It's all stainless steel, and
And
there's a bunch of plates all put together, and it's got all these little passageways.
I'm surprised how
though.
small it is.
Yeah. Me too.
But it's efficient.
It's very efficient, yeah. And the reason I can tell is my delta T, which I believe is the terminology for the differential, the temperature, yeah.
So that heats the water up in the floor to 90 when that's 110
Yeah.
out in the panels.
Yeah. Now, any professional plumber looking at this is going to shoot himself in the head. But it all works. It's worked for years, and it's all separate from my domestic water system. And then I can shut all the valving down for here. The ball valves are right there.
Okay.
So if I'm doing like I was doing a big project in the hangar, all the hot water is going to the hangar. None going up here.
Yeah.
But I got big south facing windows, so if it's sunny,
It actually, that helps.
It'll heat this place just fine.
Man, I love it. Okay, so that's
That's the strictly solar.
That's strictly the solar
angle
panel.
of it. And then in addition, I've got the wood-fired boiler. Just a tube within a tube. It's all just mild steel.
Now, did you bought this from somewhere? Or
Welded it. I built it.
you built this?
Then here's the water. The water jacket you can see here.
Okay,
And then this is the firebox, and it's offset to where it's just a little bit underneath, but a lot more up top. And my other one, my first one was real similar to this, but the big epiphany I had after years of running it was, don't shove, even though you can, 4-foot long lengths of wood in there, because what you have is a fire in the front, and as it's progressing back, it just creates a lot of smoke. It's not efficient. It's a smoldering fire. It's not what you want. What I've done over the last 10, 12 years now, this is my average length of wood.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Small fire right up front, The air intake is right there, okay? Outside air comes in.
Okay, I see it. So
Exhaust
this
air.
right here is air intake.
And I actually get this kind of like the flame path kind of does this.
Okay.
So think of this not like a 4-foot firebox. It's more like a 1-foot firebox with a 3-foot heat exchanger, right?
Gotcha.
So the rest of the firebox is just more surface area to exchange the heat. So once water in this shell reaches, I think it's 110 degrees is the set point on the aquastat, which is here.
Okay.
It kicks on this circulator pump and circulates the water, and it's a closed loop. It's not glycol. It's just a separate
Okay.
loop of water that circulates up through a 100-foot coil of 1-inch type case off copper tubing that's immersed in this stainless steel tank underneath this outer shell that has 200 gallons of water in it.
So water and water.
Yeah, they're both water.
They're both
but
water.
they're separate, yeah. So in other words, the water in here, in the boiler, and the water in the copper loop is all the same water, and it's all sealed off from the 200 gallons in the tank and in the floor.
So the tank water and the floor water is the same.
Yep.
Okay.
And then, so when I start a fire, about 45 minutes later, it takes a while to get everything up to speed. These are terrible. Like if you come into a cold shop and you want heat right now, forget it. That's not the way you work. You come in the night before, come back, and then the next 2-3 days you got heat.
Gotcha.
I mean, there's that big lag time.
Big lag time.
But like right now, it's comfortable in here with this from yesterday's fire. So once that reaches whatever I have my different aquastats set at,
Okay.
another pump kicks on.
Another pump kicks
And
on.
these are 2 pumps kicked on in series, or plumbed in series, to just increase the flow rate. I had 2 small pumps, and rather than buy 1 big one, I just hooked them up so that I'm getting the flow rate I need.
Gotcha.
I want. And I believe I have this set right now at 70 degrees. So once the water in that tank reaches 70 degrees, it kicks on, starts pumping it through the floor. The boiler will heat the water faster than I can pump it through the floor. Normally, I'll let the water heat up to about 120, and a normal burn cycle will be maybe 2-3 hours of actual fire.
Okay.
And then the actual time of pumping water before it gets down to the 70 degrees where it shuts off automatically will be 5 or 6 hours.
It also is pumping through the heat exchanger over there.
No, not going through the exchanger at all. It's going straight through into the manifold, into the floor. The heat exchanger is just for
That's
the hydro.
that's
Yeah.
separate.
And that's where it gets confusing, and I don't know if I understand it.
Yeah.
And it gets worse, okay?
Okay.
So that's basically this system. And like I say, on a sunny day, this doesn't have to do anything.
Doesn't even-
That will do it all. But I also have these 2, and these are not really open. This is for the house,
Okay.
okay?
Okay. So this
So-
also heats the house.
Say if I don't have a project in the shop and I'm comfortable with it being maybe 50 degrees in here,
Yep.
but it's brutally cold and no sun, I'll start a fire in here. Same sequence happens. The water heats up in the 200-gallon tank, and then this aquastat kicks on, depending on where I have it set.
Oh, there it is.
Yep.
So
It
now,
kicks on, and now it's taking that 200 gallons of water, pumping it down through underground lines that are insulated, of course, to the house.
okay.
Into its radiant floor heat system. And then its solar panels, you can get a shot of them through here,
Yeah. Okay.
also can work at the same time to help augment the wood boil. So, yeah, I got more valves and circulator pumps than I can shake a stick at. But then again, on the other hand, I haven't paid a dime for heating my house or my shop in the last 40 years. All my neighbors up here, you look at the big houses up here, they got like multiple 1,000-gallon propane tanks.
I was going to say, it's like
Yeah,
heavy propane.
Yeah, I have no idea, but
Do you have a propane tank?
no, I haven't had a propane tank for
wow.
years. Yeah, don't need it.
Yeah.
And at my jobs, my crane jobs on construction sites, I'm stumbling over wood every day.
So
I mean,
they
like,
just chuck it in
and
the back
with the trees I got up here, I actually get quite a bit of wood out of there.
Yeah.
Keeping my bike trail clear.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, these panels are inefficient, but they're also easy to make. Well, I didn't make them, but mean, it's cost effective.
Yes.
There's a different type of hot water panel that's They're sealed like a tube
Yeah.
that work under a vacuum. They're more efficient per square foot, but who cares if you have the room for bigger panels? It's actually just like solar electric panels. Like the panels they put on the space shuttle were like 40 or 50% efficient, whereas these panels are maybe 15 or 20. Who cares if these are 3 times as cheap?
To heat the same amount of water with solar PV versus solar water.
Oh yeah, solar's gotten that cheap. Now, the way I heat my crane shop
Yeah.
in town is I've got a 2,000 watt array,
Yep.
and it makes enough electricity during the 9 months out of the year I don't need heat to build up my credit with Idaho Power.
Oh, yeah.
And then I just use my electric boiler. So in other words, I didn't mess with hot water panels. I
Yeah.
went strictly
Which is
all
way
electric.
easier.
Yeah, simpler.
Simpler.
Yeah,
You don't need all the
Yeah.
tubing and
Yeah. Now, if I'd have had panels, I would have used them probably.
Yeah.
But I didn't have any more. You know, I had these 9, and I think the company went out of business, just like the wind turbine inverter, because solar got so cheap. I haven't seen a solar hot water system for years now. But those panels, they're at least 30 years old.
oh wow.
Yeah, but they're aluminum and copper. There's really nothing
Yeah,
to
nothing-
go around.
nothing to it.
Let's see how much electricity we're making.
Thank you, Tom, for showing us your hydronic floor heating system. I know a lot of people are wanting to do this for their shop.
Yeah.
And
The great thing is I can come over here, make a mess, as you can see, cutting wood, chopping wood, doing whatever.
yeah,
And I go over to the house and I'm getting the benefits of the hot water through my floor, with no mess or fire hazard. Yeah.
So do you have a fire and
Yeah, and I got a small.
You got a little stove.
Wood stove.
very, very neat. All right, we'll see you guys on the next video. Thanks for watching.
Hey everyone, I want to do some experimenting with heating water with wood stoves. It's a really intriguing idea to me because there's tons of applications. You can use the hot water to store energy from a wood stove that you're already burning, or you could be supplying the house with hot water. You could even heat a house with in-floor heating, and the wood stove could either be inside or outside. You could also be heating water in an off-grid situation for things like showers or small-scale agriculture. And my favorite idea is an off-grid hot tub. So one of the keys is heating the water as efficiently as you can and extracting as much energy as you can out of the flue gases. So in this video, I'm going to try to create a really efficient heating coil that can be attached to and used with all sorts of wood stoves. And at the end of the video, I'll test it with a wood stove that I made that turned out really well. It's super efficient, and I'll link the video below where you can watch how I came up with the design and how I built it. And then if all goes well with this heating coil design, in the next video, I'm going to make a rocket stove so I can attach it to that and do a side-by-side comparison with a traditional wood stove versus a rocket stove. And I'll be able to test different temperatures, how long it takes to heat the water, how much fuel it uses. And from there, I can figure out if one design is much better than the other. So I'll start with the heating coil design and jump right in. Just a reminder that likes, subscribes, and comments really help the channel. Thanks a lot. Let's get into the build. The first thing I need to do is make the heating coil, which I'm going to be using this copper pipe to make. And I'm going to need to turn it into a really tight coil so that it fits inside the stovepipe. So it means having a diameter of no more than about 6 inches. But the copper pipe is going to be really prone to kinking if I turn it that small. So there's a few things you could do to get around that. And what I'm going to do is fill it with water and let it freeze. That way, when I go to bend it into the coils, the ice inside should prevent it from kinking. So one thing I have to be really careful of as I fill it with water is that there's no air pockets, because it would immediately kink if there was a gap in the ice. So I think if I went to just fill it off of a tap or a hose, there'd be a really high chance of just getting a random air pocket in that doesn't get pushed out with the water as it fills up. So what I'm going to do is submerge it into this barrel, which has about a foot or 300 mil of water at the bottom. So I'll start lowering it in like this. And as long as I maintain an upward incline with the copper pipe as it crosses beneath the surface level of the water, it'll always be pushing the air up and out. So I'm confident the copper has no air in it now. And I know I'm being pretty anal about this, but the copper pipe is the most expensive part of this project, so I really don't want to mess it up and have to buy a new piece of copper pipe. Next, I'm just going to put 2 zip ties on it to keep it in a coil, and while it's lying flat at the bottom of the barrel, I'll bend the 2 ends up so they can't spill any water out. So having the 2 tails pointing up is preventing any air from getting down into the pipe, and as I freeze it, I'm going to leave the tails pointing up and leave them open so that as the water turns to ice and it expands, there's essentially a pressure relief on each end, and a bit of the water can ooze out so that I won't get a burst in the pipe. All the pressure will just come out of the ends. So now I'll go stick this in the freezer overnight, and tomorrow I can make the coil. It's been about 24 hours and the copper pipe should be frozen and solid. So I've got this piece of pipe clamped to this table, and I've got some big weights to try to immobilize this table. So I'll grab the pipe out of the freezer and try to act really quickly before any melting can really occur. And I'll just stick one end through this clamp here and then just wrap it up down the pipe, and hopefully I get a nice tight coil. Okay, so it's the next day, the ice is all melted and I've got most of the water out of the coil, and it's time to finish up the coil. So what I want to do is space out each coil and then make sure that they're all on a consistent slope. I want them spaced so that as the hot air passes over the coil, it can touch all sides of the space, and I also want to create as much turbulence as I can inside the heat exchanger. So as the hot air is rising up through the flue, it's moving around a lot, it's touching all the different sides of the copper coil. That way it has as much time as possible for the copper coil to absorb the heat from the exhaust gases. So I'm just going to throw this back on the pipe. So the coil ended up being about 2 foot long or 600 mil, and